Hearing. We're going to open the public hearing for Public Act 25-168, option to exempt 100% disabled veterans land here in the town of Southington. If anybody would like to speak in this public hearing on this topic, either in favor or against this ordinance, please come on up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, folks. My name is Rachel Wackey, and I live at 138 Longcrest Drive, Southington, and I'm currently the chairperson of the Town of Southington Veterans Committee, and I am definitely in favor of this, and because simply put, it's just the right thing to do for our veterans, and I believe I speak on behalf of most all veterans here in town. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Anybody else would like to speak on this topic?
Joshua Serafino, 717 Pleasant Street. Here to support the Veterans Land tax exemption for 100% disabled veterans. Please don't miss this opportunity to do the right thing and support our veterans. They have sacrificed greatly for our country, and I think the least we can do is provide them a slight tax exemption. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who would like to speak? Mr. Poulos, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Chris Poulos Sr. I reside at 75 Delmetto Court here in Southington. And I'd like to speak in favor of the proposal to exempt veterans who are 100% disabled from paying taxes on their property. As you probably know, the state legislature passed a bill that provided a similar tax relief. I believe it might have been with the concurrence of each municipality to exempt those same veterans from real estate taxes, meaning their home and maybe their automobile. It's a small price for us to pay for those who have given so much. I'd like to add a personal note to this proposal or my endorsement, and it's, for whatever reason, you get old and you start going through the files and the photos and so forth. So I'd like to introduce an exhibit, if you will, to demonstrate what kind of a debt we owe those veterans. This is an 81-year-old photo of my dad and myself when he was home on leave just before he deployed to the European Theater of Operations. I'd like to pass it around, and just and this is the type of thing, they didn't ask what's in it for me. They just picked up and went and left behind those family members and those people that depended on them because they were going to serve for a greater cause. I'll start this out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Poulos, for your service to the country, and thank you also for serving on our Veterans Committee, Mr. Poulos. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to speak during the public hearing? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And we'll move into our regular meeting, Town Council meeting Monday, September 8th. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jack Perry.
Here.
Jennifer Klock.
Here.
Michael Del Santo.
Present.
Valerie DiPaolo.
Here.
William Diedzik.
Here.
James Morelli.
Here.
Tony Morrison.
Here.
Christopher Palmieri.
Here.
Paul Chaplinsky.
Here, we have a full complement. Why don't we please stand for the prayer and the flag salute?
Heavenly Father, we ask that you would please keep your hand upon us as we commit ourselves to the citizens of Southington.
We pray for wisdom and clarity in our decision-making, and we humbly ask for continued blessings upon Southington. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to move on to item number 2. We're looking for an approval of the meeting minutes of the town council from August 11th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the August 11th Town Council minutes.
Second.
We have a motion from Chris and a second from the vice chair. Any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Item 3, councilperson communications. Jen?
Okay, so I have a couple. First, and I can pass this around, but we did receive it today. The Plan of Conservation and Development Committee met on August 27th, and our consultant SLR reviewed the general findings of the community survey, and that's now been posted on the town website, so you can find that on the website and review it. And generally, it seemed to be consistent with feedback from our last plan, which was interesting to see. Some concerns on development, traffic and road safety, preservation of character and community and sidewalks within town. Some positives were on our community facilities, which received high marks, active and passive recreation, and our quality of life here in Southington. So for more details, visit the town website where you can kind of take a deeper dive into those topics and also gain some insight into the demographics of Southington as well. More importantly, come to the community workshop that'll be held here Thursday, September 18th from 4 to 7. It's a drop-in style event, meaning you can come anytime between 4 and 7, which there will be stations where you can ask questions and get information. I feel the committee felt it was a more welcoming venue than a more formal meeting to sit and receive information. So we've reached out to several stakeholders, including churches, sports clubs, Bread for Life, Calendar House, community services, town boards and commissions, but please do pass the message along on that. Any questions on this before I move on to my next?
Questions on the POCD?
Jen, just one quick question.
Val?
So I had checked the website. Is the information up there yet? The
results?
the results?
Yes.
It
So
is.
if you go to the Planning and Zoning Department, there's a POCD tag.
And we can go in that way?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else on the POCD before Jen goes on? Okay, Jen?
Okay, so this is the Fire Commission report. So earlier this year, our chair appointed me as an informational liaison for the fire department. And I've attended a couple of the meetings, reviewed minutes, hope to participate in more training exercises as well. This most recent meeting was very important as our chief, Eric Heath, has announced that he is retiring in November. He wrote a nice letter that's in the minutes, also posted on our town's website, but he was very proud of his time served in town and felt very supported by his team of firefighters and especially Assistant Chief Scott Lee. We also obviously are proud of him and thank him as well for his service. And the Fire Commission is working on a transition plan for that.
Thank you, Jen. Anybody else? Nobody? Chris?
Sure, I have a couple. First of all, just a acknowledgement. I know several of us, Jim, Paul, attended the bridge dedication for Sergeant Pelletier, which was on Friday. So I want to thank actually Representative Poulos for introducing that bill to have the bridge named after him. Very fitting, very humbling to be there on Friday to see, you were there too, Jen?
Was
right? You were down, okay. And Val was there, sorry. So it was just very humbling to see the kind words spoke in his memory. I also had the pleasure of attending the Harvest Hoedown at Leaf. Leaf is such a hidden treasure in our community. Jim, Paul, Tony, and Jen, thank you also for attending. And thank you to all the sponsors that supported Leaf. And again, it's just a gem in our community, and it's great that so many people came out and see the value of having that farm preserved in town. The last meeting through, to the town manager, I had asked for an update. We got word that we got approximately $347,000 in additional funding for roads for the state. We kind of had an informal conversation about using that money to increase the amount of roads we were doing. I'm just wondering if we have anything since the last meeting?
So this paving season, we don't have anything in the books. We're looking to see if we can get any capacity from our current pavers right now. We're absolutely applying it to next year's to get ahead of it and get additional miles paved. But at this current state, as you might have seen from some of my most recent updates, we're having trouble getting Tilcon to even come back to finish the work that they're doing now because they're so far behind because of the rainy season.
Right.
So we're still pushing, we're still trying to get it, but right now we haven't gotten any capacity
Okay.
from the pavers.
But again, the plan for next year,
Yeah.
I get it's not this year.
And we
Add more
we get
roads.
an allotment, so we try to squeeze more days out of the pavers that we can, so we'll push as hard as we can to get more days.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then one last thing that is similar to something Councilman Morelli brought up at the last meeting. It's not the same location, but it's the same issue. The crosswalk at Norton Street and Clark Street. And Jim, I think it was the same thing you brought up, that when it signals that it's safe to cross, that
It
one
turns
also.
green, but it doesn't stop the traffic from the
Right,
side road.
right. So the light is not red for the oncoming vehicles. So I know you mentioned more on Queen Street, but it's the same problem, Norton Street and Clark Street. So I'm not sure where we're at with the follow-through with that. I think that was the state we were gonna,
And I'll just add before the town manager chimes in, I had the same exact issue at Mill in North Main this afternoon.
Okay.
So, Val, you know
Yes.
that intersection.
that
It has a push button, but that push button doesn't do anything to stop the walking pedestrian traffic or stop traffic for the pedestrians. So we have to do a full court press on this.
and those are all state roads.
Yes,
because
correct. It's all
Route
state
10,
roads,
yeah.
correct.
So, again, it's been another month, so I'm just hoping that we can.
We've
get
gotten
it.
responses from the state, and I know that myself and the council, nobody's satisfied with those responses when they say that that's how they're supposed to work. They just stop call the horizontal traffic and let the vertical traffic go, and you're supposed to just walk almost through it. So we will follow through up again. I'm hesitant to, but I'm at the point where I think we may contact the delegation to get
Okay.
somewhere, because our engineering staff has not been getting a lot of headway.
And I know we talked about that at the last meeting. You said you wanted to try to go through our town staff before going to the delegation. So if we're at that point, that's fine. I mean, we can each speak to members of the delegation, but I'd like to get correspondence from the state and see what their plan is to address.
I'll put together a full package of all the correspondence we've had to date, so this way, when we put a letter to the delegation, they have the full backup and data, so they have a clear picture, in all the locations as well.
That would be great.
How about a letter from the council? I mean, at this point, if they're not responding to our town staff, to the manager, the only response we're getting back is that they're there and they work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But the way they're supposed to is not the way it should. So for those of you who are here, we have push buttons on the state roads in town for pedestrians to cross the main roads, sometimes 4-lane roads. And when you push the button, for example, at Price Chopper, you push the button, all it does is go through a regular signal. So the regular red and green go, and the pedestrian sees a green light, and they think it's a green light for a pedestrian to cross, and it's a green light for the traffic to go. So, and this happens all over on the state roads. And I mean, I have inquired personally on this for the last 6 months. And we've reached out a number of times. If the council would be agreeable, we could have a joint letter written up, Chris, that we put out, and if everybody's okay with that, we work on it this week and just have the town manager send it out on behalf of the council.
Yeah, and I do think Alex's plan of having the packet is gonna be helpful too, because at the end of the day, they're gonna wanna see the correspondence and what has been communicated and not communicated back.
And we can copy the delegation on our letter from the council. Is everybody okay with that, if we have a letter from the council that's representative of what we discussed the last few days? Let's do that.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Yep.
Yep.
Anything else, Chris?
No, that's it.
Okay. Councilperson communications. Anybody else? No? Okay. I have a few items. I wanted to piggyback, Chris, on your comment with the Harvest Hoedown and say thanks to Mark Ramsey and all of the volunteers and the sponsors. But I also wanted to thank you, Chris, for your volunteer work there, because Chris didn't say it, but he was at the event volunteering as well. So it was appreciative that you volunteered at the table to help the LEAF program as well. So thank you. Yep, you touched on the bridge dedication for Trooper First Class Pelletier, so thank you, Chris. I wanted to give a shout out to the fire department and police department with the Battle of the Badges. We saw some of the results come across social media. It looks like the fire department scored high this time and took the trophy. But congratulations to everybody who participated in that, and both departments for being willing to have a fun challenge to help those who are in need of blood through the Red Cross. And thanks to everybody who came out to support that. I know Jen and I had the opportunity to attend, and I know past Chairwoman Triano, who's here, also was at the military breakfast. Rachel Watke, also from our Veterans Committee. Thanks to everybody who came out to support our military. We had roughly 50 personnel in the area who are being deployed overseas. Some of our reservists, and they're being called up to active duty to help out in the Middle East. And the Community Services and Veterans Committee and Elks and Rotary, there was a whole bunch of organizations that were putting on a breakfast at the Armory about a week ago on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And it was really nice to have the opportunity to be with all of them. It was an honor to be with all of these military personnel who were willing to step up and support our country and do what they do each and every day in that role. So thank you to all of them for doing that, and thanks to all the volunteers who put that on. That was a really nice event, and I'm sure I want to give a shout out. There was a real profound presentation also by Larry Ireland. I want to give Larry a shout out. He's behind the scenes, and I don't know if he even watches these meetings, but Larry is a quiet volunteer with the Veterans Committee, and he's always out there. He's helping out the American Legion. He's American Legion. He's always out there with our veterans, and he gave a really nice speech there. And he told all of them that, he knows firsthand from somebody who's been in the military full time what it's like to leave home and leave your family and how scary it is. And I thought it was a really nice touch that he had a business card, his personal business card, and he put it on the table in front of everybody before they got there. And he told each and every one of them that, you're going away, but know that you have this large support structure, including the Veterans Committee here. But as an additional stop, if you need to call somebody, to call a family member, my business card is here. And that was really nice. I thought it was really touching for him to offer that. And I wanted to say a shout out to Larry Ireland for all he does, because he's never really recognized publicly. And I think it would be nice to give him a shout out there. So thank you, Larry. There was a bench dedication. We had a moment of silence for Gail Castiola, who was a Housing Authority member, and they had a bench dedication at the Housing Authority a week and a half ago for Gail. So thoughts and prayers are still with Gail and her family as they had a bench dedication for her that will, continue to represent her legacy there at the Housing Authority. So thank you to all of those who put that on. I had the pleasure of being with a number of folks stopping in towards the tail end of the wine tasting event at the Barnes Museum, and wanted to give a shout out to all the volunteers there and Christina Volpe, who puts on the activities there. It was really great music. good wine. There was obviously a wine tasting and a lot of good. There was a lot of people there at the event. So, continue to support the Barnes Museum and all that they do. And glad to see that they have these activities that are generating revenue that support the Barnes mission. So thanks to Christina and everybody else who put that on with the Friends of the Barnes. And the last thing, came up. There was something on social media recently about a porta potty on at the dog park. Recently, I think it came up over the weekend or this morning. I think it kind of culminated this morning, but I had sent the feedback about a dirty porta potty at the dog park, and it turns out I had sent it to the town manager. He had quickly brought it to his staff's attention, and they quickly realized that last week, as a result of the holiday, this porta potty had gotten missed. So they're, taking care of that missed porta potty. But in the same time, there was a lot of discussion about handicap accessibility to them in our parks as well. And really nice job by Alex and his team to identify and provide the person who had inquired some feedback on that. And in short, the parks have gone through a number of different initiatives for upgrades, and they've identified. I think there's only one porta potty that was out of compliance, but they're looking at all of them to ensure that they're being maintained properly, and also that we have handicap accessibility for the portable bathrooms in our parks. Okay. With that, we will now move on to report of special committees. Item 4. Item A, Chris, Apple Harvest.
Sure.
We're getting close.
As you know, it's right around the corner. About a month till the Apple Harvest Festival. So we had a meeting. It was August 13th. We have another meeting this week to finalize plans. So some highlights from the meeting, just to share with the public a few things different this year and new and exciting. We have an online store that's available now. If anyone would like any Apple Harvest swag, you can get it right online ahead of time. So shirts, sweatshirts, anything like that. So that's available. Some other new attractions that we're planning. United Way is working on a trike race downtown, which again is something new. We have a kids art project to coincide with SOCA's activities, sponsored by SHS art students. There's a forge artist, so he's going to be, we got fire department approval, but they'll be on site doing some forging on the town green, live demos every 2 hours. You get to see that. We have a social media type event where a singing artist will be going around, not on the stage, but going around through the crowd and trying to work with people and record them and share that on his social media. So that's something new. And then Grit and Wit, which is a interactive exhibit for really all ages, but it's an obstacle course type setting. It'll be the first weekend behind the main stage in the absence of the Arts and Craft Festival, which will be the second weekend. We are finalizing sponsorships. We are pretty much set to go. So far, we have about $42,000 in sponsorships, so huge thanks to all our sponsors. The next meeting, hopefully that'll be finalized, and I can acknowledge them publicly to thank all the people that are contributing to keep the festival affordable for all of us. And finally, it's my pleasure to announce our Grand Marshal for the Apple Harvest Parade this year, and that's Cheryl Lounsbury. Cheryl was one of the original members serving from the town council as when the town took it over from the chamber, and she was a past chair of the committee as well. So Cheryl will be recognized as the Grand Marshal of the parade this year.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Chris on Apple Harvest? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item B, sewers. Tony.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's just a couple of issues. The first one is infrastructure work. Every year we line our sewer pipes that we believe are degrading. It's really important work. If we don't do it, you'll get backups in your houses. But last year we spent 1.1 million. This year we're going to spend 1.5 million, and we're getting together the agenda of pipes that we're going to be doing. We concentrate on those that are old, the pre-1980. The old borough stuff of Southington is pretty much done. And the rest of the pre-80s, 1980, we're going to do on those. They do degrade over time. They're clay sometimes. Even the plastic ones do. Roots get in. And what we just do is line them. Essentially, just drop a protective shell within the pipe. You won't see it, but you'll see some of the trucks that feed the lining into it as we go through the year. Okay, second thing, some of you might have noticed, we had an accident with the generator at the South End pump station, which happens to be next to the McDonald's, which is why it was hit. We have a barrier there, and we had an accident with someone at the drive-in who accidentally hit the wrong pedal, plowed into the guardrail, and destroyed the generator. We have a backup generator on site because for state rules, obviously, you don't want a pump station to go without use, as it were. But we're going to have to replace not just the generator, which the town staff is doing. We've got to decide where it's going to fit. There's not much options there because there's not much land. Okay, so it'll probably go back where it was, but town staff are looking at it. And we need, obviously, a better guardrail. And you'll be hearing more about guardrails later on in the meeting from other things we have to talk about tonight. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions on sewer? Hearing none, let's move on to Public Works. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had our last meeting last Wednesday on the 3rd at 4 o'clock. The chief spoke a little bit about speeding again. I know it seems to be a recurring theme each month. He's been getting a lot of requests, his officers as well, for speed bumps or speed humps in the road. And he just wanted to make everyone be aware that as a traffic authority here in the town of Southington, he is not in favor of putting those in. He often thinks that putting those in could do more harm than good. They actually become ramps. Cars are going too fast. So he just wanted to, for the record, say that he's not in favor of them. He's certainly willing to talk with pedestrians or talk with townspeople that have other ideas about speeding. But at the end of the day, every road in town has a posted speed limit, and we should be driving the speed limit. You can see around town, he's putting up a lot of those lit up speed limit signs. They work. Every time I see one, I hit the brakes, you know what I mean? So just if everyone is cautious and everyone drives the speed limit, there shouldn't be any issues. Highways and Parks, Mr. LaPre mentioned that paving is finally coming to an end. I know the town manager spoke earlier about Tilcon being behind because of the early rain season. It's in the hopes that by the end of this Friday, paving should be done in town, weather permitting, weather dependent, but that's the plan so far. We have some interesting information from the water department. They're going to be working on some roads off of the downtown area: Berlin Street, Lacey Drive, Vermont Avenue, Vermont Court, Vermont Terrace, Academy Lane, and Oak Street. They're going to be replacing a lot of water mains and the old style gooseneck mains. So there is going to be some traffic issues. So obviously, if you live on those streets, you'll be able to get to your home. But if you may be traveling through those areas in the next few weeks, actually about 6 weeks, you may be directed to go around or stay out of those areas so those guys and gals can get those things done. There will be posted detours before any of this happens, and they're doing the best they can to put information out to social media pages to make sure that people are informed ahead of the game. And if you live in one of these affected areas, you'll get an announcement, you'll get a letter, or they're going to knock on your door and let you know what's going on. And that was guaranteed by the water department. The building department, some good news there. They are now at full staff. The whole office used to have like a staggered schedule, and Mr. Riccio thought it best to have everyone come in at the same time and everyone leave at the same time so they could really go after the issues at hand and to tackle all of the tasks throughout the day. And with that, just doing it for the last month or so, He said permits have gone down for a 4 to 5 week term to now to 3 to 4 weeks. So slowly but surely, we're getting back on track with permitting time, which is usually a lot of the complaints that we receive, people waiting too long for their permits. So good news there. And that just about did it. I'm not sure if I missed anything. Jack was there, and Jim was there.
Anybody else? Chris?
A couple issues. I thought this was under Public Works, but I've been talking to the town manager. We really need an update on the sidewalks on Pleasant Street, between DePaulo and Hatton. So right now, if you haven't driven by there, there's cones out, because the area that I'm talking about it's on an embankment. So the kids, when they're walking to school, have to go into the actual road. I know there was an officer out there, they were directing it. I think it was just about completed, but can we have an update for?
School access.
Yeah, that's right past Grace Methodist Church, I believe.
Right.
That was supposed to be done Friday the latest. Police department assured me during school hours, if it wasn't done, there'd be an officer there to stop traffic if the sidewalks were not in place. I thought it was completed, but I'll follow up on that.
Cones are still up, maybe the sidewalk is okay to walk on, I don't know, but.
I'll follow up with that tomorrow morning,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you, I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Absolutely,
Alex, you'll email the council on that?
absolutely.
Thanks.
I think I passed that this weekend, and it was ready for pour, but it
Ready to pour?
Ready to pour, but not quite complete, right, Jim?
And then I also wanted to mention that this work that's being done on Vermont Academy and those side roads, those roads will not be fully paved until next paving season. So they'll have temporary pavement.
But they'll be walkable?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. The other issue from the Public Works meeting, I had a chance to review the minutes. I have to say, I'm a little upset about really an issue that Councilman Perry brought up with Russell Road. And I know Dr. Triano has reached out to me too. I know she's been working with Jack. But honestly, for a council member to bring up an issue like that at the meeting, and they're recorded now, so I can hear I couldn't see it, but I can hear the transcript. Honestly, I have to say, I was a little disappointed with the reaction that he got. I think if a resident comes to us, we want residents to come, speak out about issues affecting them. And I'm a little concerned with the way not only Councilman Perry was treated, but the resident who wasn't even in attendance was almost dismissed through comments that were made at the meeting. So I'm hoping we can get an update. We mentioned earlier about updates on roads and the funding from that extra $347,000 from the state. Possibly Russell Road is one we could use some of that funds for, but I'd like Russell Road to be part of that update if we could, related to what we're doing with the additional money from the state for the roads.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to address that.
Absolutely, Mike, good.
So as I told Mr. Perry at the Public Works meeting, and I believe I've said it at this meeting numerous times, Russell Road has a plan. We know about Russell Road. We've discussed it ad nauseum, okay? Ms. Triano and some of the neighbors there are not accepting of what staff in the Public Works Committee have told her. So she's calling everybody. She's calling police officers. She's called the chief of police. Everybody knows about Russell Road. Russell Road has a plan. This fall, all the roads in town are going to be scanned again. Now, Russell Road has some significant issues. There's a lot of overgrowth. There's a lot of catch basins that are buried in grass. There are trees that have taken over sidewalks. We know all of this. I have been out to Ms. Triano's home over the last 2 or 3 years. I just don't know how we're going to satisfy her that she just needs to be patient. Unfortunately, Russell Road is not the only road in town. We are not dismissing her, but there's no reason to discuss Russell Road at every meeting. There's no reason to do so. There are hundreds of roads in town. We get it. It's a bad situation over there. And it's not even going to be like a normal paving job. There's a lot of construction that needs to be done. We've made it very clear to her at this meeting and at Public Works Subcommittee meetings. So I don't know how else to address her.
And I understand. I just think when a council member brings something up at that meeting, that he has every right
Certainly.
to bring up an issue, and he's doing his job.
Sure.
Because the resident is reaching out to him.
Sure.
Voicing concern. And Mike, maybe I get the paving piece, but to your point, what you just said, there's other maybe low-end maintenance items that could be addressed now, like the overgrowth and things like that, to buy time until the paving can be done. You know, so there might be, was she invited to the meeting to talk about that? 'Cause
Chris?
I know she wasn't in attendance at the last meeting.
Hold on a second. Chris, we've talked about Russell Road dozens of times. She knows what's going to happen. I don't understand why she called the chief of police last week. She called the police officer to go there and walk the police officer's emailing us like he just found out some super news about a horrible street in town. He emailed us, he goes, hey guys, I'm with the neighbors here on Russell Road and they have some concerns. We know all about the concerns. I don't know what more to do for Miss Triano. I don't know how much more we can talk to her about it. We know what's going on with Russell Road. Town staff knows, the Public Works Division knows, there's a plan in place. And Mr. Perry brings it up every Public Works meeting. So I'm not sure, he does not bring in new information, he just wants to know an update. And there's nothing further to update until the fall, when we rescan all the roads. I'm sure Russell Road is gonna come in pretty bad. And Mr. Perry knows that this is not going to be a typical paving job. This may be a full construction. This may be a really bad situation.
Right.
We know. We're not diminishing the fact, but I don't speak any other languages. I don't know how to tell her, we know. It's happening.
And Chris, you brought up some other things. You know, there was an email from Ms. Triano about a complaint that she had about her neighbor. She complained that her next door neighbor's apron was not up to code and water was coming over the apron onto the sidewalk. That sounds like it might be a private issue. And maybe there's standards, Alex, but if you can maybe, since that email came in, if we can have somebody look at the apron and communicate what needs to be communicated, if there needs to be a repair there or not. I'm unsure.
So, to everybody, that homeowner contacted the engineering department, and I don't want to get into specifics of what he said, Ms. Triano and the homeowner talked about, but there was a lively discussion and some, we advised the homeowner that, yes, the apron is not the code, not the current standards, but the apron is 30, 40, 50 years old. If it's reconstructed, it has to be rebuilt to code, but at the current point, the town is not filing any violations or anything. We went out there again, and we spoke with the homeowner in detail, and the property owner in detail.
So you've already addressed that one? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
So just real quick, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but I
finish
just don't
up.
want to go back and
Nope,
forth.
I'm not
Because we're
gonna
going to
go
let
back and
Mr. Perry speak. It looks like he wants to speak, and then maybe you want to go after him.
Of course.
Go ahead, Jack.
Thank you. So, Mr. Del Santo, no disrespect, but you mentioned a plan. When I look at an issue, a plan is there's a path. And we go back to when Jim Capone was on, with the town as our town engineer. He stated that he was working towards getting more data. The street scan is a portion of what is needed for the plan. There's more. He thinks that the grades may be off, so the whole road needs to be surveyed, figure out where the catch basins need to get relocated. So that is what was originally talked about with a plan. So I mention at every council meeting, or not every council meeting, every public works meeting, because Jim Capone isn't there anymore. Dave Norris is. And we were told that this was a plan. And that was what we were doing. It has come to a halt, and I understand what needs to happen on the road construction side. So all I'm asking is, are we going to move forward? We spent taxpayer dollars to start the process, and we stopped. We did borings. We spent $4,000 of taxpayers' money, and just might as well just burn it then if that's what we're going to do. I thought the game plan was a plan of attack. Step one was the borings, then getting town staff out there once they understand what the pavement and the subgrade bases were, so they could understand where the elevations need to be, or, can we just regrade it? Is there good base underneath, or do we need to dig it all out and put a base and go from there? So that was step one, and that's why I keep mentioning it, is because I don't want this to fall on the back burner again. And that's what has happened with Russell Road. And I'll say it again, there's catch basins that the trees have like overtaken, and their yards are now part of the road, and the catch basins are recessed. So you're going to have flooding issues, water issues, which then, in the Northeast creates our roads to deteriorate at a faster pace. So until we get some of this fixed, and getting back to Chris's point, using some of the money that, Christopher Polis brought into the town, I think that would be a good use of maybe saying, okay, we have a plan, and now we're going to nip it away step by step. The referendum of what we have that we spent or what we are spending for paving is not going to fix Russell Road. Everybody understands that. So what are we doing here? We know that it needs a serious work. So how do we plan on what that is? Is it going to come out of the general budget? You need to do all the steps, and this street scan is only a portion of that, and that's more of an overview and a high-level look. Russell Road has a bigger issue. So that's why I keep mentioning it.
Okay.
Just real quick.
Last one, and then we got to move on to the next one, guys.
Then we'll move on, because again, we're talking about Russell Road. I stood in front of Miss Triano's home. It had to have been 3 or 4 years ago, with public works staff and the town manager. And they were chipping ice off of her sidewalk because the water was coming back onto her property. I was there. I was met with an email from Ms. Triano to town staff that I'm delusional, that it didn't happen. So unless I wasn't there and I was transported someplace else,
The
I
water
stood
was coming
there
from where?
from the road onto her property. So town staff was there assisting her many, many times. And, I won't say many, many times. At least one time, I was there. I saw them doing it. And she called me delusional in an email. So, I'm going to give respect as much as it's given back. She's been very rude, very disrespectful to town staff. So, and there's no way this is going to be backburnered, because she's going to bring it up again within the next week. I don't know who she's going to call next. I mean, she's spoken to everyone in town. So that's it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Val.
Can I just go on Public Works, just briefly, going back to the,
Street scan?
no,
Come on, not Russell Road.
oh, man, it's Monday night. The speeding.
Yes.
Speed humps.
Speed bumps and speed humps.
Right, so short of, and I get that, short of speed, bumps and things like that, has the chief, through the Public Works Committee, has he talked or looked at any other towns? I'm sure a lot of towns are going through the same thing. Has he talked, do you know if he's talked with
I'm
any other
unsure.
towns,
I
or-
can certainly find out, Val.
I don't know if there's anything else that can be done.
I do know that this has been brought up, and unfortunately, it's been brought up for downtown Planceville, because someone suggested doing it after the building got hit for the fourth time.
right.
And his concern is, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and someone's going 75 miles an hour and hits that speed hump,
It's a it's gonna
yeah,
be worse.
and
gonna
that's
be
the same
worse.
thing with guardrails.
Right.
Guardrails hitting straight on is not a good thing either. It's supposed to guide you, not stop you.
Right.
And now it becomes, now you're propelled into the air.
Right.
And
And I know we're-
interestingly enough, I was driving in New Haven a few months ago. I was going to a party near the airport. What's that, the place,
Oh, Tweed.
yeah, right. But the banquet facility.
Yep.
And the streets around that had those, because there was a school, there was a park, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was driving and you couldn't speed, because every maybe 200 yards, there was one of those speed humps.
Mm-hmm.
So it forced folks to drive slower around the parks and the
They have those
school.
going into the airport.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. But his concern is putting it on a road that has a 25 mile an hour or 35 mile an hour, speed limit.
Right.
And I can certainly ask him, but he is the authority, the traffic
Right, and I
authority.
understand that. I'm just wondering,
he's-
because I would think that
yeah.
other towns, and we're going to talk about more safety, but I would think other towns are going through this too.
Yeah, it's,
And I don't know if there's anything with the outside the box.
So there's also, this has been brought up recently. The chief has gotten a number of locations that have been hot spots for speeding and issues that we're talking about here. He's putting extra personnel in those areas, and he's rotating them around. The chief has also agreed over the last 2 or 3 years to purchase the digital speed signs, which first started, I think, at DePaulo School in that area, and now you could see them all over the town.
Right.
So there's a methodical approach to, to this that the chief is trying. First from increasing staffing in the area, doing speed traps, to now doing the digital speed sign. And I am a firm believer that, for 98% of the people who are forgetful that you're, going a little fast and you see that blinking at you, most people look at that and go, oh boy, I'm
gonna slow down.
I'm slowing down.
Right.
That 2%, I don't know, even the speed table, they're probably going to go over. But so there has been a lot of activity in there, and maybe there is future activity that the chief is willing to do as the next step. So I think we should continue to monitor. And
State DOT offers grants, and every year we look into. We got a grant a couple of years ago to finish the one, I believe, on Bellevue. That was
that's right.
partial from a grant, I believe.
Right.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, moving on to item E.
I'd like to ask a question
sorry.
of the town manager about public
Please,
works.
go ahead.
Earlier, you stated that the $347,000 that the state gave us could not be used this year because, of capacity issues of our vendor, correct?
I said we're trying to use some more. We haven't been able to get any of the capacity allocated to us.
In other words, we're trying to use it if we can, but I'm not sure some people on the dais heard that. That's it.
Okay. Item D, open space. Jen.
Yes, well, Open Space Committee met on September 4th. We received a very nice presentation from Anne Marie Connerty, who would like permission to clean the Goat Island property and establish a pollinator garden, trails, some birdhouses, a really nice effort. And so now town staff is going to work with Anne Marie on moving forward with that initiative. Pleasant Street Community Gardens wrapped up and were a great success. And by the way, this was also mentioned in the POCD survey as a highlight. So thank you to Dave LaValle, also Chris Palmieri for all the work on Pleasant Street as well. And we're preparing for the Agri-Sci barn to make its appearance. And then next month, we're going to highlight the Novick Open Space Trail by scheduling a community hike and sunset watch party. So if you've never watched the sunset from Novick, the Novick's parcel, it is absolutely stunning. It stopped me in my tracks while driving by the other night, and I took some pictures. So look out for that date to be determined as well.
Excellent. Any questions for Jen on open space?
Quick question.
Yes,
Mr.
Mike.
Chair. Jen, maybe Chris knows. Does the Goat Island still have like that bread oven that they used to use there? Is that still in a?
It does.
Foundation.
Let's get that sucker fired up.
It's not in great shape.
Yes, this
but
was
it's still-
discussed, and it's kind of part of the plan to reinvigorate that area because of the.
Good
the
Eagle
rich-
Scout project.
Yes, that was discussed as well. She actually has a lot of plans.
I'll help eat the bread. I don't know how to
Yes,
do it.
I will-
I could demo it if I
I'll
bring a
let you know.
sledgehammer. That's all I know how to do.
But that's very rich in history
Yeah.
as well, so,
Yeah, Mr. Angelillo.
yeah.
And Unico was mentioned, is looking to do some restoration there
Yeah.
for the oven.
Yep.
I'm in. I'll help.
And if, I'm just going to throw it out there, since we talked about bathrooms earlier, I'll talk about bathrooms again. I really think that this council should consider bathrooms on the trail at some point. Goat Island was brought up in the past. I personally think the train depot area, we just purchased the lot next to the train depot. And I think that this should be Public Works or one of the committees should take this up. There is service to that parcel now. So we've got water and service into the parcel from that parcel next to the train depot that we purchased. That was filled in, it's leveled. Now's a good time, I think, to look for a grant or something like that for a restroom on the trail there. It's a nice spot for pull-offs, et cetera. Jack?
I think it's important to highlight that lot was also purchased for that reason.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's already something that we've used taxpayers' money towards getting to that end result. So just keep that in mind.
And overflow parking, because we had
Yes.
some issues with parking there, and so, yeah, I think now's a good time, everything's settled there, and, maybe scoping that out and looking at that in the future would be good as well for one of the subcommittees. We did. We actually were going to approve that. We did kind of approve a concept years ago, but I think we ought to revitalize it. Okay, anything else on open space? Anybody? All right. America 250, item E. Tony.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chair. Well, we had a first meeting, the America 250 committee. America 250, for those of you who I assume know, but in case you don't, it's a federal initiative. It's developed to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, in other words, the founding of this country. Each state runs its own programs under that umbrella, and Connecticut has a similar framework where each of the 169 towns will celebrate in the manner best suited to their unique circumstances and history. Okay? Now, the first meeting mostly was an organizational meeting. I was elected chair. We decided on the actual formation or function of the committee will be a small group. There will be 7 of us. But it will also reach out to pretty much a much larger group that will be composed of pretty much representatives from all the institutions in town. And to give you a sense of what that is, it's business like Chamber of Commerce, schools, obviously. In fact, the Board of Ed is represented on the committee. It'll be scouts, churches through the Southington Clergy Association, veterans, American Legion, obviously, theatre and arts, for example, Southington Community Theatre, SOCA. And we listed about 20 of these institutions, of which some of them, like the churches and civic organizations, obviously had a lot more. So it's going to be wide-ranging and extensive. We'll be looking for those institutions to tell us what they're planning on doing, and we'll essentially be rolling them up into a thing for the whole town to look at and obviously create excitement, but also to attend and visit themselves. We did, in addition to the organizational stuff, we did actually have a pretty wide-ranging discussion. And I thought I'd tell you about some of the highlights, because these are the things that you will obviously be seeing as we roll into next year. We talked about a week of celebrations around July 4th. Now, that's not a good time to have celebrations here, because people do it on their own with their families, or they used to. So we suggested maybe the week before, have a week of celebrations. We talked about the concerts and fireworks. Obviously, we don't want to get in the way too much with Apple Harvest, so you'll have to link up with that. We'll use our own history to provide a Southington context. For instance, suggested the Rochambeau March could be recreated through Southington. That was a unit of soldiers under General Rochambeau that took a large part in the War of Independence. Banners, flags, excitement in the town, and pretty much things like that. So obviously a lot more to come on that. We also talked about the development of capabilities to disseminate information to the town. I asked the town manager for help with that. He provided it using our website. And we talked about finances. We have $25,000 in the budget, which was just a placeholder for this year's budget. But we're also going to talk about grants. Christina Volpe from the Barnes Museum will look into grants. I'm talking with the Main Street Foundation about their money. So we got off to a good start. The next meeting will be here, and we'll be inviting all the institutions in town to talk with them. They can share what they're doing, and we'll listen, and we'll share what we intend. That's it.
Any question on America's 250?
Oh, by the way, just want to say, it was a little amusing about me being the chair, but I did want to point out that Thomas Paine, one of the greatest intellectuals of the Revolution, was a recent immigrant from the British Isles in 1776, and he did okay.
Thank you for your willingness to be on the committee, Tony, and lead that. Okay, any other questions on America 250? All right. Thanks, Tony. Okay, moving on to item 5, Town Manager's Report and Communication. Item A, recommendation for municipal building HVAC, preventative maintenance and repair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Every few years, we go out to a town-wide HVAC bid. We like to consolidate all of our HVAC services, repairs, and the smaller replacements with one contractor to make it one point of contact. We haven't gone out in quite some time, so we went out to Planet Bids. We sent it out. We've got two, one local, one almost local, and one non-local bids. If you take a look at them, the highest bid per year is $81,565, and the lowest bid is $24,933.44, which we're recommending. The lowest bid's also a Sellington company, Savmore. We've used them in the past, and the town engineering staff is recommending that town council approve that bid for the next 2 years.
So the bid, you're looking for approval for RFP 2025-008 to save more cooling and
Correct.
heating.
Yep.
And what's the amount that you're requesting?
$24,933.44.
And is there a contingency with that?
There's not, that's split up between, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 different departments. So
Okay.
this is just a service contract.
Okay, so we'll be looking later in the meeting under old business for a motion to approve 24,933.44 to save more. Any questions to the town manager on item A? Hearing none. Item B, traffic safety controls, Meriden Ave and Bellevue.
The second item I have, Mr. Chairman, like you said, is a traffic control system. In your packet, there's a number of police reports over the last several years where cars are coming from the southwest going to the northeast on Meriden Avenue, and it turns right past Lewis Farms, and it's typically late at night, and cars are just veering straight into the yard, into a cleared area, instead of going right. At one time in the past, several years ago, there was a guardrail up there. It was hit, and it has not been replaced. So we've talked to the property owner. The property owner there would highly welcome some traffic mitigation controls for him, because his yard keeps getting clobbered with cars. It's almost like a hop house situation, just at a much higher rate of speed. Luckily, his house has not been hit yet because it's set a little bit far back, but I believe Mrs. Lewis's parcel, which is right next to it, and his keep getting hit. The state DOT, it's a state road, the state, they have not, we've requested them to do it, they have not. They have put up some additional signage, some additional high reflective arrows. It has seemed to help a little bit, but that's what they're willing to do. We won't be able to do anything in the right of way. We could only do it on some of the private properties owners' property. So if the town council did want to go ahead, the budget is approximately $8,000 to $10,000. We would have to get approval from the property owners, which they are told me they're in agreement to put it on their property with an easement.
Bill, before you go, I just want to add, well, first of all, for those who are in the room, this is the list of police reports regarding this, and it's not just this property owner. The direction that they travel, that these accidents are occurring, in several of these instances are across the front yard, and they go even through the next two neighbors' yards. The most recent one that happened a few months back, if we recall, on Meriden Avenue, just before, is it Strawberry Lane? Just before Strawberry Lane, went across 3 properties, 3 front yards, thank goodness nobody was in their front yard, and hit a fence in a house, hit the house and the fence. So it's a trouble area. Bill?
Yeah, and here's what bothers me about this, and Jack alluded to this last meeting. There's 11 accidents. By my count, 10 of them had an auto policy. So why has nobody made a claim, or maybe they've made claims they've been denied, under one of the person's auto policies to fix this? So I'm gonna vote tonight in favor of putting these guardrails in, But if one of these guardrails gets ruined in the future, why is State Farm not paying? Why are the Southington taxpayers paying for this? So I noticed a trend. We do prosecute with a little more zeal some of these insurance policies, like we are with the sewer claim. But I'd like to see that keep going forward, because I think way too many auto policies have not been tapped to fix damage that's been done by private citizens that have been subsidized by the taxpayers. So I want to make that clear. I appreciate what we're doing, but let's get on these policies going forward.
Anybody else? A question for this one? Okay, and I think
Mr. Chair?
there was a discussion, I think, I heard that there was a guardrail here years ago, before this council's time, was what I heard, was that there was one installed and that it was, crashed into and removed because it was damaged. But this was well before our time. I don't know when it was. I looked at the GISs and I couldn't find the history there going back to like 17, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't there because it could have happened within a year. So, sorry, go ahead, Val.
So Alex, what would the guardrail just be on for that one property, or would it be, because there are the 3 houses there that are always impacted?
So location hasn't been determined yet.
That all has to be
We have to
determined.
make sure all the property owners are in agreement depending on where we're gonna place it. I
Okay.
believe Mrs. Lewis, is part of her parcel would be
Right, on the
encompassed,
corner.
along with the gentleman to the southeast of her.
Yes.
Most of the accidents, if this is Meriden Ave and this is Bellevue, Mrs. Lewis's comes through here.
Yep.
Most of these accidents are coming through Mrs. Lewis's parcel
Yep,
and then
that's right.
across so what I understood was that there was a guardrail here.
There was.
On the
Yeah.
corner.
Yep.
And so if we can't go in the state easement along the road,
We can go on
then you could go across
the owner's
Mrs. Lewis's and, across his property this way, or their property this way, to prevent them from going across across all 3 properties, yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
Go ahead,
That
Jack.
is a really bad area.
Thank you. So if it's going to be in their property, I guess aesthetically, I would just be concerned on what we can do. I know like the mayor has different type of guardrails that are a little bit more decorative. Not saying go crazy, but you may be able to be in compliance with maybe a little bit of shrubbery or something to kind of, so it doesn't look like all guardrail in that corner, especially Lewis Farms. They have a nice location there, and I just don't want to see all guardrail. So if it's going farther in, may want to just look at, what engineering says we can do with maybe some small plantings or something to kind of camouflage it so it's not like guardrail.
It's a great idea.
Thanks. And just off the top of my head, I was thinking while we were talking, Pleasant Street at Berlin, there was a guardrail there for a single home, right? People were going down Pleasant into Berlin, and so we put a small guardrail there. West Pines Drive has one on a road off the new development that's there to protect the house. A few years ago, we put one up at the end of Savage and South End Road, where the house was getting hit, so there's a guardrail there. Prospect and West Street has 4 of them, all 4 corners protecting those 4 homes, because people are coming down West Street on the town road and they're hitting
Those are a
homes
good
there.
example of the decorative. They're brown
like a
instead of just
brown,
silver.
yeah.
They don't shine out at you.
So there is, there's Mount Vernon's got them,
And the Jude Lane, we did one
Jude
last year.
Lane. So there's, this happens. Okay, if there's no more questions on this one, we're gonna also bring it up under old business. So why don't we move on to item C, Prevention Coordinator update.
So our longtime prevention coordinator, Megan Albanese, has moved on. She's working for Hartford Healthcare right now. And she was predeceased by Kelly Lepard, who also was phenomenal, and Sue Smeda before her. And we've had a long line of in-town succession. So we really want to replace that person and build upon that great work that those 3 individuals have done. So John Ishmael, who's the Youth Services Coordinator, myself, have been meeting with stakeholders. Most recently, we met with the Board of Education 2 weeks ago. Want to know exactly what they want from the prevention coordinator, because that prevention coordinator works in the schools almost every day. And last week, we met with the STEPS Executive Board and really wanted to sit with them and said, hey, what is important to you? What do you need? What more do you need that you didn't have before? Because we want to make sure we find that right fit. So we've talked to all those folks. We're going to be sitting down with it's a unionized position. We're gonna be sitting down with the union within the next week or so and trying to come to an agreement with some tweaks to the job description to make it more effective to what the stakeholders are looking for. So we're gonna work with them. We don't anticipate there being any issues, and then we're gonna be looking for, starting a search. Mr. Palmeri has, as the town council steps liaison, has graciously volunteered to sit on that panel. I'm gonna invite the chairman too to be there if he'd like to be there, because this really is a community position. We've had 3 absolute rock stars in this position going forward, and while, yes, it's a town manager hire, this really is a community hire. So we wanna make sure we find the right person and we don't rush the process. So just wanna give everybody an update. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And just for clarification, I know it was maybe just a slip of the tongue. I think you meant preceded. You said predeceased. So Kelly, if you're out there, we know you were not, you didn't, we weren't pre-deceased. Preceded. Okay. And you know, super important position for us. We are, I know Chairwoman Triano is here. I mentioned you, this is the second time, I'm sorry. But this is an important thing, and I know you were involved from the very beginning of STEPS, and ensuring that this continues, Chris, you know, you're always actively involved in bringing the STEPS activities to this council as well, so thank you for that. We're going to continue to enhance that role and hopefully take it into the future. Jen?
I just wanted to thank you for the approach. This program is so critical to our community. I think Kelly started it off with a wonderful foundation, and Megan, with the help of a lot of other community members, created the C3 curriculum, which is a game changer. It has set the tone around the entire state. And most importantly to me, it has created a new connection with the police department and our youth, which I think is very important in today's day and age. My son comes home talking about it. It's just a really important piece to our community that I want to see continue.
Chris?
The other piece, just to add, obviously Kelly and Megan have done a fantastic job. I also just want to acknowledge Kristen, who is still a staff member with STEPS. She really does a lot of the work as well, so I want to thank and acknowledge Kristen. And fortunately, she's going to help with the transition period as well, maintaining all the initiatives that STEPS has already started to offer. So thank you to her as well.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? As a proud parent of 2 children who went through the STEPS program and worked with both Kelly and Megan, definitely a thank you to the both of them. Their leadership is second to none, and definitely looking forward to continuing the program and you know, ensuring that they have what they need to be successful. We hear it. We hear lots of things in the media all the time, and there's one thing that is super important for our children. It's prevention. Teaching them, you know, really good skills, making them aware and having them proliferate the good word about, you know, rights and wrongs and things to look for and be careful of, and having them be advocates for their friends is second to none. And so prevention is extremely important. We have to continue to work through our prevention coordinator and the STEPS program and our youth services team. So thanks, Alex, for the update.
I did have one bit of good news, if you would.
Please, we like good news.
So the last meeting, we had a pretty long discussion, and we talked about the Plantsville Pocket Park. We had a lot of people talk in the public supporting it. And the marching orders I got was, you have the money, go get it, bid it out, get the quotes, and get it done. Happy to report back, we did do just that. We're starting September 22nd. We should be mobilizing. We're able to bring the cost down to less than half of the money that was allocated. So we're looking forward to that and getting it done before winter. So thank you for the support on that, and hopefully you'll start seeing some things before the next meeting.
We knew you could do it, Alex.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Sounds good.
Just passed along the request.
Thank you for the good news. Okay. Item 6, Town Attorney's Report, 22 Main Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to report that the 22 Main Street, otherwise known as the Bank of America property, sale is proceeding, perhaps not as quickly as we all would like. The purchasers in their contract have 2 90-day extensions that are permitted. They have elected to utilize one of them a couple of weeks ago, which does theoretically push it back by 3 months. It doesn't mean it's not going to close in that period, but allows them that period in which to fulfill their obligations and close. I'm told that the purchasers are submitting a planning and zoning application this week, and will be proceeding that way for approvals. Once that's done, I anticipate a closing probably within 2 weeks or thereabouts.
Any questions on 22 Main Street?
The plans look great, Mr. Chairman.
Plans are already in place. They've already got excellent. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll move on to item 7, public communications. If there's anybody here who would like to come on up and speak, now's the time. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Louis Schassler, 24 Verdendale Court. Over the last few months, I've been working with Melissa and the subcommittee for people with disabilities here in town. And we've been working to try to get information from other members or people in town who are disabled. We don't know who they are. It's a big hole in this town. So we have come up with some flyers that we created. We haven't discussed where we're going to distribute them yet in town, best to get to people with disabilities. I'll leave some here if people can look at what we've come up with.
Thank you, and we'll put those into the meeting minutes so that they can also be advertised there.
That's what we're trying to do. Now, we're trying to get the word out and we're just having a hard time. Recently, I met with State Rep Chris Poulos. He met with myself, my wife, and the director from the Connecticut FTD, and we talked about disabilities and how the state's trying to help people. And he put this flyer on his newsletter, and we did get some responses through our survey online, but we need to get more out there, and I don't know a better place to get the townspeople to know about than the town council. If there are some ways we can get this out to the public on the websites or through the media like Sullyton Patch or any newspaper to get this out there so people can try to respond to us. So that's a...
We have somebody nodding in the back. Phil is he's going to help you out. See him on your way back.
Okay.
We will. We have some email addresses as well that we can tap into and send them out since this is going through one of our committees. So we can leverage town staff has some addresses. We can push some of this out to them as well.
Right. And I learned through Chris's newsletter also that the VAF system in town is being activated, but I didn't even hear about it until I read it on the newsletter, so that's not even getting out to the public either. I mean, I know we can't tap names and addresses from that, but if people address that, I mean, sign up for that, at least we have a number of how many disabled people are in the town to try to get some kind of a response. We know how to respond to people in homes with issues, so there's not accidental police shootings for someone with a disability and firemen getting in and helping someone. So we need to definitely get to find that out. And also, like I've been here many times before, it's great that we're doing something for disabled veterans, but there's many people in this community who spent decades here, volunteered, had businesses who end up being disabled and having a hard time with their taxes also. Just a little side note, I don't know if anybody saw that. It was on August 26th. Diane Sawyer interviewed Emma Willis, Bruce Willis's husband, and there were some eye-raising things. My wife has FTD, and that's frontal temporal dementia. Only 60,000 Americans are diagnosed with it right now, and it's a really debilitating disease. She has all the money that people can think about. She's been trying to take care of him by herself, and her extended family, Debbie Moore and her children, have been taking care of him. But I guess he's gotten to a point where they've had the money to purchase a house down the street that's one level, because I'm guessing he's lost his mobility. When part of your brain is going away, you lose functions of your limbs and all your other functions. And he has 24/7 nurses taking care of him. I'm my wife's 24/7 caretaker, and I'm disabled myself. And I'm exhausted. It is a stretch. And during that program, it was astounding. The cost to care for someone with FTD, when they get to that point, is $119,000 a year. And I have no way of knowing how I'm going to be able to afford to take care of her until the end. And it's a tough struggle with people with disabilities. And the last thing they need to worry about is, am I going to lose my home because I can't pay my taxes in town? It's a tough choice to deal with. So, again, thanks for hearing from me, and talk again. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Schassler, and thanks for working with the committee as well on this. Can you make sure one gets to Kathy for the
Good
meeting
evening.
minutes? Good evening.
My name is Jill Fragola, and I live at 39 Zwicks Farm Road in Plantsville. I'm a recent retired town employee, and I worked for the town for almost 27 years. However, more importantly, I am a Southington taxpayer. I'm here tonight to express my concerns on what has been happening within the town this past year. There have been at least 25 employees who had left or given their notice, 25, 9 of which are department heads. Typically, municipal jobs have very little turnover, and yet so many employees have elected to leave, giving up benefit packages that is usually more generous than the private sector, paid holidays, vacation, sick, and personal time, especially the pension that the town of Southington offers. That in on itself is not an easy decision. Some of us have retired, but many did not. And you might think that those of us who did retire did so because of the change in the municipal employees retirement system that took effect on July 1st. But in reality, many of us, including myself, did not retire for that reason. Think about all the years of experience and wealth of knowledge that has walked out the door this past year. This is a tremendous loss to the town. In many cases, these longtime loyal employees have been replaced by people with less knowledge and experience at higher rates of pay, and some receiving sign-on bonuses. Why? Programs are being implemented without adequate evaluation and training. Various job duties are being shifted to other departments without proper training or considering how these changes impact the employees and the taxpayers they serve. The town of Southington had always been considered a respectful, reputable place to work, but that has changed. Up until my last year, I enjoyed going to work. I loved my job. The respect and camaraderie we all shared once is gone. In my almost 27 years, I have never seen morale as low as it is now. The lack of respect and negativity I observed is disheartening, and I know I am not the only one who feels this way. It was important for me to express my concerns to all of you in hopes this will change. And I hope you will all give serious thought to what I've said tonight, and I also hope the town of Southington can return to being a respectful, reputable place again, and where people want to work. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Dan Carter. I'm a resident of Blue Hills Drive here in Southington. My intention was to be here for the public hearing to speak in favor of 25-168. I foolishly thought the hearing was at Town Hall, and I apologize for missing that. But my comments are related to that public act, and I speak in favor of it. My daughter Bailey, who was born and raised in town, a 2015 graduate of Southington High School, married an Army officer, Daniel Lupacino. He recently was medically retired from the United States Army. I can tell you that his intention was to be a career Army officer. And unfortunately, due to combat-related injuries that he suffered, he's 100% disabled. And they returned to Connecticut in January of this year with no home, no job, and no future. Thankfully, they have found a home here in town. And I just want to let you know that there are residents of this town who want to be here, who want to live here, and they need that support to stay here. As you know how difficult the real estate market is. They were very fortunate to find a place, and as a career Army officer, they're very motivated, they can improvise, and they're going to do fine. He's currently attending graduate school on a GI Bill, and they're going to do fine, but I just want to relate the story that they're here in this town. There are people who can use that benefit, and I would highly recommend that you support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. And if you could please connect with Rachel here. She's in charge of our Veterans Committee in town. It would be great if we could make a connection with your daughter and son-in-law.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak during public communications? Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we will close public communications and move on to old business. Item 8A, recommendation for municipal building HVAC preventative maintenance and repairs.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to allow Save More to get this bid at $24,933.44 for the maintenance of the various buildings throughout town.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, let's please call the roll for awarding the bid to bid RFP 2025-08 to Save More Cooling and Heating, Inc., $24,933.44 as proposed. Madam Clerk.
Perry,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
Yes?
Dietzick,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Thanks, everybody. Item B, traffic safety controls, Meriden Ave and Bellevue.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion. I guess I just want to be clear on
Please.
what are we specifically making the motion on?
You might want to maybe make a motion to approve the guardrail at the, with the stipulation that staff identify the best location with the neighbors.
Up to $10,000 and
That's what
an easement is obtained for the town.
Is 10,000 enough?
10 is conservative, so I'm told it should be plenty.
Okay.
Okay, so a motion to approve up to $10,000 for a guardrail and maybe other plantings or, for that location.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. And that'll be for staff to determine
To
the best
determine.
location and the best, plantings that kind of break it up,
Will you let us know, Alex, what they
the outcome.
Absolutely.
decide on before?
Absolutely.
But you're approved to start on it. You can give us an update at the next meeting if this passes. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I know we mentioned it earlier, this is nothing new. We've done this other times in town. There are pinch points in town where properties continue to be hit. So we're hoping that this will help these residents in that area and keep people safe. And again, it all comes down to driving the speed limit, driving while you're not impaired, staying on the road.
Texting.
Okay. Anybody else? Chris?
Just to support Bill's comments earlier, that, really, if people are doing damage and they should be held liable for it. So I support this as well. I will be voting for it, but I agree with Councilman Dietzick, and I think we should be a little bit more aggressive in going after the insurance companies of the drivers that do the damage in the first place.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd like to second that. We did see in the emails that the insurance company for the woman at the generator specifically said that they're on the hook for the entire thing. So it's not like we have to fight for that support.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'd like to mention, I drive that area all the time, heading home, and it is a very difficult intersection. And it seemed like, reading through these reports, a lot of the accidents were at nighttime, rainy situations, and it is a difficult spot.
And so maybe also to that point, in nighttime and rainy, maybe we can ensure that there's some reflectors on the face of this. I know we want to put plantings, but maybe the planting should be on the neighbor's side. And the face of it should have plenty of reflective surface as well. Anybody else? Okay, no, I want to say, this one was tough because it was originally on the state road, and we tried, I'm going to say 18 months ago to get the state to do something. It took a long time for them to get back. It didn't happen. I personally reached out to some in our delegation. It was difficult. The DOT also wouldn't come back and get us anything. It was quite a long time that didn't work. We then reached out back through staff to the DOT and asked again recently in the last couple months and received word back that they just weren't going to do anything here. And I fundamentally believe that, safety is cornerstone of what a municipality and what the government should be providing to their members. And so we talk about the pedestrian safety, we talk about the crosswalking signals. You know, in this example, I wish it could have been done sooner, but I'm happy that this is now before the council and that we're going to see, you know, an area that's had reoccurring accidents. You know, like we're taking care of the one in the center of Plantsville. You know, we're going to take care of this one and ensure that these neighbors in this area are safe. So with that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Perry?
Yes.
Clock?
Yes.
Del Santo?
Yes.
DiPaolo?
Yes.
Dietzick?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Palmieri?
Yes.
Chaplinsky?
Yes, and thanks to all the neighbors for their patience on getting this done. Motion passes unanimously. Item C, action on Public Act 25-168, option to exempt 100% disabled veterans land.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to proudly make a motion to approve the option to exempt 100% for all 100% disabled veterans land,
Second?
We have
up to 2 acres.
up to 2 acres. We have a motion and a second from Val. Any discussion on this? Val.
Mr. Chair, yes, I would like to echo, I think, a lot that was said tonight. I think for the veterans, it is, as Rachel said, it's almost a no-brainer. They've, you know, we need to do that for them. I guess the other thing I just wanted to mention, though, we're hearing, and I know our chair and vice chair here from the Commission for Persons with Disabilities, are we moving forward on, I know there was a small committee that was formed looking at other possibilities for tax, you know, either tax breaks or,
Yeah, that was started by Chairman John Leary with the Board of Finance, so I'll make it a point to reach out to him and check on the status of that and see what
I just
the.
think it's important for us to know, you know, where that stands, because there's a lot of hardship situations in town.
I'm sorry, Melissa, I'm sorry, I just can't let you speak. We're in the middle of a vote. Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
They met about 10 days ago
Yep.
and had an update. They're planning on, as Ms. Halloran said, they're planning on having an update in the next few weeks again.
Okay.
There we go.
That's great. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
just feel we need to.
Thanks to the
you know,
town
we need
manager
to
for
be
clarifying.
We need to be looking at that as well. But no, I'm very, very proud to make, to vote on the exemption for the veterans.
Thank you. Sorry, Melissa. I'm glad we had the answer up here.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I know many of you know this hits home personal for me. My father passed away. He was 100% disabled Vietnam veteran. He didn't own any land in town, so I could vote on this, nor does my mother. But it's no easy task getting 100% disabled Vietnam veteran. It took my father up to 4 years. He had to jump through 10,000 flaming hoops to get that designation. So it's serious stuff. We are talking about wartime veterans, and my credo is always, after children, veterans come next in this country. So it's the least we can do. I'm very delighted that no one came up tonight to speak against this, because I was ready, just in case. We unfortunately, we give a lot to people who don't deserve. You know, I mean, as a state, as a country, and sometimes as a town. But I'm very happy to say that this is going to go to folks who deserve it. They've earned it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, yeah, I can't think of, you know, a very short list that would be more deserving than a disabled veteran who's stood for our country and for each and every one of us who are up here and our families. And so, we, you know, with pride, I'll definitely be supporting the tax exemption for our disabled veterans. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Perry?
Yes.
Clock?
Yes.
Del Santo?
Again, proudly, yes.
DiPaolo?
Yes?
Dietzick?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Palmieri?
Yes.
Chaplinsky?
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. Thanks, everybody. Item 9, new business appointments. Number 1, Board of Ethics, 1 member, 3-year term expiring August 2028.
Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification. Is this a Board of Ethics alternate?
It's an
or is it-
alternate.
It's an alternate?
Alternate.
Because alternate's missing from the, but it's definitely an alternate?
Yes.
Then
The
I have,
last appointment was a full seat, so this is an alternate seat.
okay, so I would like to give the name of James LaRosa, 90 Baldwin Court here in Southington, Connecticut. He said he'd be proud to serve.
Baldwin Circle
What'd I say?
Court.
Whatever.
Okay? Okay, do we have a second on that? Jim, okay, any discussion? All in favor to appoint Mr. Jim LaRosa from Baldwin Circle as an alternate to the Board of Ethics? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Item 2, Senior Citizens Commission, 1 member, 3-year term expiring March 2028. Looking for a table on that one?
Motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Second was from Mr. Morrison. And then we're also looking for a motion to table on Seed Committee, 4 members, 4-year term expiring August 31, 2029.
Motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion and a table from Mr. Palmieri, motion from Mr. Del Santo, and second from Mr. Palmieri. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Item
Mr. Chair,
10.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion from Mike and a second from Chris. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, everybody.